to this month's episode of On Deck with Avoya. I'm your host, Chris Green, Director of Network Expansion, and here we are, January of 2025, and hard to believe it is time for a new year already. We're going to kick the year off with a fantastic show. We've got a great episode lined up for you. John Chernesky, still in the holiday spirit, the Senior Vice President of Sales for North America with Norwegian Cruise Line. John will be joining us. Fantastic Q&A coming up there. And then Steve Hershan, our Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel, is going to join us as well. We'll take a look back at the year that was 2024 for Avoya Travel, take a look ahead at what 2025 has in store. Also joining us today will be Laura Burke from our Early Success team with a great tip this month, and we'll spotlight a wonderful affiliate in the Avoya Network, Deborah Stone. At the end, we hope you've heard something that is inspiring, something that makes you want to learn more, to reach out at avoyanetwork.com and get the process started about engaging with somebody on my team about getting you into the Avoya Network. So let's kick it off. This month's episode of On Deck with Avoya coming up next, right here. So welcome back to this month's episode of On Deck with Avoya. I'm your host, Chris Green, Director of Network Expansion, and we're certainly glad to have you part of our show. And wow, it's a new year already. Could you believe that? 2025, we're just kicking off. We're still all in the festive holiday spirit here at Avoya Travel and our friends here at the NCL. In fact, we'd like to welcome our Executive Insider special guest this month, Norwegian Cruise Line Senior Vice President of Sales for North America, John Chernesky. John, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for being part of On Deck with Avoya again.
My pleasure to be here, Chris. As you can see, I'm still just, embracing the holiday spirit. Hope everyone had a wonderful holiday and wishing everyone the best of health and prosperity in 2025.
Absolutely. John, for our experienced travel agent friends that are watching the program today, you certainly need no introduction. I mean, one of the top executives in leisure travel, certainly one of the leading personalities in our industry. But as you know, seeing how Norwegian Cruise Line is the title sponsor of the Avoya Travel Academy, there's been this surge of new agents, very excited, coming into our industry. So for those that might be watching that are new to the industry, John, can you give us a quick backstory on your time in the travel industry and how you ended up at Norwegian?
Well, it's a good question. It's a long and winding road. I came out of college right into the cruise industry, and I spent about 24 years on the operational side of the business, doing everything from ship design, entertainment, onboard revenue. Got into the sales side of the business almost 10 years ago, and I had the privilege of leading the sales team at Norwegian.
So following up on Norwegian Cruise Line sponsorship of the Avoya Travel Academy, John, why do you think it's a great investment to be so involved and invested already in the next generation of travel agents for our industry?
Well, it's kind of a no-brainer to us because of the importance of training and of getting awareness of advisors when you come into the market for the first time, because it's a very crowded space. At the end of the day, there's a lot of suppliers out there, whether you're talking cruise or land or, air, everything, all the things that you do and keeping track of it. And the earlier we can make an impression on you and the value that we believe Norwegian Cruise Line offers, the better for us from a business perspective, but also we're trying to make it easy for those new advisors to understand and specialize, because if you're going to try and sell everything to everyone, it's going to be a hard road. Try and find your lane of a handful of suppliers that you can really become an expert in, and we hope Norwegian will be one of them.
So, John, we kind of touched on it during the open, but hard to believe here we are already early 2025, the new year. Take a look backwards for me, and how would you describe the 2024 for Norwegian?
24 was a great year, one of our best ever, and we're very proud that coming out of the pandemic, which wasn't that long ago, we have solidified ourselves as a brand. We've rebranded ourselves, talking about experience more at sea. So much happened last year. And as you know, this industry, Chris, you have to pivot and be ready to move based on what is happening in the world events, the economy, you name it. But we're very well positioned as we head into 25 and hoping that this wave is the biggest and best ever.
So what about the year ahead? I mean, you're talking about being positioned properly for 2025. What are some specific things that maybe you and the whole team are really excited about as you head headlong into the new year?
Well, it's hard not to get excited about a new member of the family, and you can see the Aqua, which is the sign that's behind me. She's our new ship that comes out in April of this year. Very excited for the Aqua, some new dining venues, some great entertainment. We've got a show celebrating the life of Prince on board. Can't wait to see that and experience that firsthand on the Aqua. And our amazing private island, we think we have the best private island in the business, Great Stirrup Key, is getting a pier in October. And so thrilled that, and what does that mean? Who cares about a pier, right? No, we care because you need to call there every single time. And when you're tendering, not only is tendering not the most convenient of experiences, but sometimes you miss the port because of weather conditions. So we're very excited that we have the new ship and the new pier. And then the next new ship comes around a year later, the Luna, the sister of the Aqua. Very excited for those new ships to be delivered.
You know, we talk about things in 2025, but in reality, a lot of what it's going to be sold, even in this wave season in January, we're looking further out, right, John? 2026, 2027, and beyond in some cases. I mean, how does that elongated booking window impact you as a vendor? And what are some things maybe a travel agent should keep in mind when booking with clients so far in advance?
Well, I think number one, you want to keep an eye on that future, the long-term horizon for your clients. You are an advisor, not just a order taker. And so my advice is that you're really opening up groups when our new itineraries are come available, whether it's a new ship or whether it's a new, in 27 when we open that up, et cetera, that you're ready to go and you can take that group space out, especially for your affinity groups. But I would say as long as the booking curve has become, and it definitely has, it's pushed out, there's still plenty of selling opportunity for 25. And so we see high demand for summer season, especially. We had Europe and Alaska, our two biggest markets in the summer. And then, of course, close in for your clients that are looking for a deal and they want to get away. We're very excited that we've got plenty of those opportunities on both East and West Coast for your clients.
Sometimes we hear the concept discussed that it's about putting the right client with the right cruise line or maybe the right itinerary, the right vendor. What are some important things that you found as a travel professional and that agents should know about NCL in order to properly kind of position that and show the value of an amazing Norwegian Cruise Line cruise?
Yeah, it's super important that you're connecting your client to the right brand because you want them to have a great experience. You want them to find their home and what's good for them. I'm going to get a little greedy here in my answer, though, Chris. I'm going to say I believe that Norwegian has something for everyone. And we believe that fully. And so when people say, John, what segment of the cruise industry does Norwegian sit in? I say it's one word and it's contemporary premium luxury. Say it with me, contemporary premium luxury, because we have a contemporary product. If you're on an inside cabin on a short cruise in the Caribbean, that's a contemporary product. If you're on a balcony cabin in Alaska, that's a premium product. If you're on the Haven in Europe, that is a true luxury experience. So depending on your clients and their budget and their desires, we really feel like you can slot them in to all of the above. And so I think it's up to you, obviously, to identify that for your clients. Make sure that you get them on the right brand. I'm not saying Norwegian is right for everybody, but I kind of am.
John Chernesky, Senior Vice President of Sales for North America with Norwegian Cruise Line, is our featured executive insider this month for On Deck with Avoya. John, what are some maybe basic tips that you would offer and help an agent close more business with your brand? Maybe something for both new to the industry and something for more of an experienced agent.
Well, I think we have a program called Cruise First, which is essentially a non-refundable deposit that you can get for your clients that I think is the ultimate closing tool, especially if you know they're serious about going. We do not have non-refundable fares. We have a non-refundable program called Cruise First. And what it means is depending on the time of the month and whether we have a special going on, the standard program is you spend $150 and you get $150 free to spend on that cruise. Sometimes we do $250 for $500. So the rate of the return can vary. But it's one of those where you think your clients are on the edge and they're teetering. Say, look, I got this program for you. We can save another $150 or $250 by using Cruise First. I think that's the ultimate closing tool.
That's a great closing tool. We all know, and from our past conversations, I know it to be true that Norwegian's really proud that it's a brand that sailed all over the world. And you mentioned, like in the summertime, very hot in Europe, Alaska, great itineraries there. Are there any areas of the world that you think an agent should be kind of on top of that might be about to bust out as the next big thing?
Well, what's interesting about Europe, we talked about that, is how strong the demand is for the summer of 25. And I would say it continues to, even though it's an expensive place to go in terms of the flights and the logistics of getting there, I would make sure you are looking ahead even to 26. If your clients have already booked for 25, start planning for 26, get something done. But I tell you what trend we're seeing, Chris, is the desire for those folks that maybe aren't as willing to get on a plane is the close to home market. Norwegian has 19 ports that we sail out of across the US and Canada. 19. So the drive ability to get to those, imagine going on vacation, not having to get on a plane. That's kind of a nice thought, right, Chris? And so imagine sailing out of Philadelphia. It's opening in 26. We've got all up and down the East Coast, all the ports, of course, in Florida, including Jacksonville, which is a new port, Galveston, New Orleans, Los Angeles, San Diego coming up, you name it. And I think for your clients that may not like to fly, talk to them about those close to home, because we've got some great Bermuda. We lead the way in Bermuda. We've got some new cruises to the Bahamas, Caribbean, of course. So plenty to choose from. And don't forget Hawaii. Now, you got to typically get on a plane to go to Hawaii, but we're dominating in that market, and the demand is really strong for our Pride of America sailings in Hawaii. So all the above, Chris.
Good stuff. John, just a couple more questions before we wrap up. And I know you're a big family man, love to travel, share adventures with your boys. What about a John Chernesky fun fact that maybe not a lot of people know about? Any secrets left to tell?
Wow, I feel like I'm pretty transparent and most people know a lot about me. I will say this. A, I can juggle. Only 3 balls, not 4. 3 is my max. And B, I love to cook. I do most of the cooking in the household. So come the holidays, I'm the guy in there cooking it up. And I just think it's a great excuse to drink alcohol, because it's hard for me to cook and not have alcohol. And if I'm just sitting there, then my wife says, you probably don't need a drink. But if I'm cooking, I'm allowed to drink. So that might have something to do with it.
Good stuff. John, before we say goodbye today, I wanted to offer you at least a chance to share anything about the Norwegian brand or anything about our industry that you think is vital to our conversation that we just haven't covered yet today.
Well, I didn't get a chance to say thanks to everyone that joined us on your conference cruise on the Norwegian Joy just a few months back. We had a wonderful experience, and I hope for those that sailed, you got a sense of the amazing service that our incredible crew was delivering that week. And again, without that, without the support and the incredible effort from our shipboard team, the service, the cruise experience just doesn't get delivered. And you saw firsthand just how amazing our team is. And so really proud of that group and that organization. We are always striving to get better, Chris. And, we like to say we want to be the easiest cruise band to work with. And if you find something where we fell short, let us know. It's a good conversation. Feedback is important. And so I'm just so excited for the future and continuing to get easier to work with. We appreciate everything that Avoya delivers. And since that conference, we've seen some great success. So clearly that worked, exposing you all to our product.
Yeah, I heard nothing but great things from the agents that were on board. They had a fantastic time. They really loved that itinerary. So real win-win for both Avoya and Norwegian in 2024 there. John, it seems pretty obvious by your answers to the questions so far, but you think leisure travel has a bright future, my friend?
Oh, without a doubt. I am so lucky to be in this business, working for Norwegian, leading such a great team. Our future is bright. I think it is cemented that people are spending more money on travel and experiences than they are on things. And that will continue because, listen, at the end of the day, life is short and we all have a list of places we want to travel. And the more we travel, the better we are as people. So let's get out there. Hopefully you choose Norwegian, but whatever you choose, travel more is my recommendation.
John Chernesky, everyone's Senior Vice President of Sales for North America for Norwegian Cruise Line. John, always a pleasure to have you on the show. We appreciate your continued support, both for the Avoya Travel Academy and all things Avoya Travel. And thanks again for your time today.
Thank you, Chris. Always great to be with you. Bye, everyone.
Absolutely. Coming up, more on Deck with Avoya, including your questions answered, our inspirational Avoya affiliate success story, Laura Burke with an Avoya insider tip, and our second Q&A when Steve Hershan, Senior Vice President of Sales, stops by to take a look at the record-breaking year that was 2024 for Avoya Travel. All that coming up right here on Deck with Avoya.
Well, hello and welcome back to this episode of On Deck with Avoya. I'm Chris Green, your host, Director of Network Expansion. It's time for our Q&A segment. Got a couple of great questions that came in this month. One of them came in from an anonymous user and wanted to know what products are travelers looking to purchase in 2025? And it really is a great question. And it's followed up by great news because there's so much excitement right now in leisure travel across the board. The majority of our top vendors, whether they're cruise vendors or land vendors, are expected to see record growth in 2025. So I think it's very exciting. Now, one of the things that we have noticed, and we heard a little bit from John Chernesky, our featured Q&A about this, is that clients are looking to book trips a little bit closer to home, certainly from a cruise standpoint. So you're seeing cruise ports across the East Coast, across the West Coast doing fantastic business. Same thing for the all-inclusive properties, very popular still, especially those in the Cancun area, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. So the great news is you can specialize in pretty much what you want and what you're comfortable with, and expect to find a traveling public that's also interested in talking to a travel agent about those destinations and vendors. This one comes from Tammy. Tammy wants to know, she said, Chris, it gets a little confusing because everyone claims to have great support, great professional development. Can you tell me what really sets Avoya Network apart in that realm? And of course, Tammy, happy to do that. And it really is a great question again, so thank you so much. Sometimes you really have to dig below the surface to really see the value. And what sets Avoya Travel apart is the number of people whose job, their full focus, is dedicating to being a support component for those that are in the Avoya network. Avoya Travel does not sell travel to the public in any way, shape, or form. Only those in the Avoya network do that. So when we say we have excellent customer support, I mean, we mean it, and we back it up. Get this, that staff, that support team, they worked over 50,000 support requests in 2024. That number is just staggering. 50,000 support requests. I mean, that's just talking about support. Your network is supported when you've got those kind of numbers. The same thing can be said about professional development. We just don't have a program to say we do. We have a program that makes a real difference, like our early success team, helping new agents set the right expectations for their new business, lay down the right foundation for future success, and help those in our network make a real point when working with clients. That's why those that participate in these professional development opportunities, they sell more, they have fewer customer service issues than those that don't. And finally, our third question today comes from Katie, and she wants to know how long I should expect it to be until my business is profitable. Well, Katie, that's the $1 million question, right? Whether you're selling travel, or you're selling burgers, or whatever kind of small business you have, how long is it going to be until I'm going to see a profit? How much time are you devoting to your business would be a question I ask you in return. How much time are you devoting to ongoing professional development? How strong is your marketing efforts? Remember, while we never have a minimum or maximum amount of time we mandate that you work, the fact is that you work for yourself, and it's going to take a consistent, dedicated effort to make your business successful. As a general rule, my team tells people not to expect their business to start covering real-life financial issues until at least the 1-year mark. You're building a business, and it takes time. The great news, by being part of the Avoya Network, you have given yourself the best chance at success. Get the details at avoyanetwork.com today, and you're certainly well on your way to a profitable business in the travel industry. Coming up, more On Deck with Avoya, including our featured discussion with Avoya Travel Senior Vice President of Sales, Steve Hershan. Coming up next, here on Deck with Avoya.
Hi, everyone. Is 2025 going to be your year? It can be, and so much more. I'm Laura Burke. I'm the Director of Promotions here at Avoya Travel. And I'm not talking just about setting goals this time around. I am talking about exceeding those goals. So thank you for joining me for another segment of Secrets to Success. And welcome to 2025. The dawn of a new year often brings with it a sense of renewed purpose and possibility. And this year, that feeling holds especially true for you because you're starting on a journey as a new travel business owner. Please understand the travel industry is packed with opportunities, and savvy professionals like yourselves are in high demand. Clients are seeking personalized guidance, they're wanting expert knowledge, and they want a trusted partner to navigate the complexities of what it means to plan travel. And that's where you come in. So, this is your opportunity to start out strong and actually set the path for success right here in 2025. So, for this year, what I encourage you to do is to focus on building that strong foundation. That means you need to craft your skills, start to cultivate relationships, especially your relationship with customers and suppliers, and be sure to define your unique value proposition. There is going to be a learning curve, so I encourage you to embrace that. Stay curious and always put your clients' needs first. You can't go wrong when you do that. So, where do you begin? Well, first start with your why. What is it that motivates you? What does success look like for your agency? And be sure to define those agency goals. You need to have those established right now so that you know where you're going through the course of 2025. Once you've done that, you're going to need to map out your process. So define those strategies and the systems that are needed to achieve your goals. Remember, this is your agency. And be sure to create a roadmap for the process and understand that the process takes time. Next, take action. So you need to take action and put that plan into motion. And with that, you'll need to identify the individual tasks and the timetable that's going to bring your business closer to its goals. Have I mentioned the process takes time? Be patient, it does. And remember, an important part to the process is to test and refine your approach along the way. So test the process by running the process on a small scale first, see how it performs, pace yourself, make sure you're observing, assessing, and making adjustments along the way. Yes, this again is going to take time to do, but by putting the right processes in place, you will end up with great success. Finally, when you're ready to implement the process, be sure to start running those processes on a larger scales, and then rinse and repeat until you find the secrets to your success. So, with dedication and smart business practices and a strong CEO mindset, yes, you are a CEO. You're the owner and operator of your own business here. So, take that strong CEO mindset because you will be amazed at what it is you can achieve. So, don't be afraid to experiment, learn from those experiences, and adjust the plan as you go. As you step into this exciting new chapter, remember, success in the travel industry is a journey. It's not a destination. So enjoy the ride. It's a lot of fun, you guys. Embrace those challenges and make sure you celebrate every milestone along the way. So here's to a year of growth, discovery, and building a travel business that takes you and your clients to incredible places. I'm wishing you the best in success, and I'll see you the next time around. Take care.
I love small group tours. It brings like people together. We have this similarity in adventure and travel. I wouldn't want to do this alone. Hi, I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Craig.
Hi, I'm Trina.
I'm Dan.
I'm Kurt Mackumson.
And I'm Peggy.
We are here on safari
On the Wilderness of Southern Africa tour.
With a group, you're going to see a variety of things in a short amount of time that you may not have done solo. You also get people's perspectives.
Feeding in on everybody else's energy, and did you see this? And I got this picture.
Everyone is an animal spotter. I spot a hippo, I spot a giraffe. It's really fun.
The group was a real delight.
We have 19 people on this. It's a very small group. We've all gotten close. We've all exchanged emails and phone numbers.
and even the tour guide, who's been amazing in drawing you into her culture.
Samantha is worth her weight in gold. And her commitment to Africa and Africa's people, sharing with us the realities of what it is to live in modern day Africa. A really great guide.
I think being in a small group actually enhances your ability to absorb what you're doing. It's this magical thing that happens. It's amazing.
Hi, I'm Deborah Stone, and I'm the owner of Traveling Light Vacations. I decided to become a travel advisor because I was actually on my own personal journey of planning my family cruise, and I happened to be part of a Facebook group for my particular sailing, and I noticed that a lot of the passengers were using travel advisors. So that kind of sparked my interest. I was like, that sounds like something I would absolutely love doing. And so I began to research and listen to podcasts and kind of immerse myself into what the industry had to offer. And that's where my journey began. So when I first began this journey, I actually joined a different host agency for about 2 weeks. And I soon realized that I needed more support and more education than what that host agency was offering. And so I stumbled upon the Avoya Travel Academy, and I decided to invest in myself and invest in my future. And I'm so glad I did. I learned so much. The support within the academy meant so much to me. I never felt alone. And it also kind of gave me a taste of what Avoya Network had to offer in regards to a host agency. Avoya offers so many resources for a new agent in particular. When you first begin, you'll be greeted by the network enrichment team, and they'll walk you through the website. They'll walk you through how to book the travel, how to work the website, how to take leads, all of that good stuff. They literally, I used to always be baffled. I'm like, I would send them an email and they would email me within like a minute sometimes. And then once you graduate from that, you will move on to the early success team. And then they will have classes on how to build your business, how to work your leads, sales tactics. You'll be able to participate in a Facebook group for new agents. One of my favorite parts was the one-on-one coaching. That was so important in the very beginning. I got so much support and so many just great foundational tips from my coach, Alex. I still meet with him sometimes to this day when I'm feeling like I need that little extra, help, a little more help or support. He's been amazing. All of the staff in early success, they are just always there for you. Brand sales is also just available with any question. They're also available for one-on-ones if you choose to do so. The support staff, you can ask them any question and they'll get back to you so quickly, and they never make you feel dumb, and you truly never feel alone when you're part of the Avoya Network. One piece of advice I would give a new travel advisor in the industry, and you will hear this a lot in early success and brand sales, is to really hone in on 2 or 3 specialties. You want to immerse yourself in the education that the suppliers offer you. In return, you'll build confidence within yourself. When a customer asks you a question, it's such a good feeling to be able to answer it right away, and the customer will feel more confident to book with you, and in return, you'll sell more. A couple of tips I would give a new agent is to follow through. Follow through with that lead. My husband loves to say, fortune is in the follow through, and I have definitely found that to be true. Fortune truly is in the follow through. Another big one for me, if not the most important one, is to build a relationship with the customer. Early success will also emphasize this as well, is to not be an order taker and to build that relationship, build that rapport, get to know the customer on a personal level, humanize yourself. I mean, you get to talk to people from all over the country, in different countries. You're planning their bucket list trip, an anniversary trip. It's a fun process, so make it fun. So overall, my experience with Avoya Travel has completely exceeded my expectations. When I first began this journey, I thought maybe I'd sell $100,000 in travel. I never thought I would sell 2 million in travel my first year. That's mind-boggling to me. And honestly, though, like the only reason I've been so successful is because of everything that Avoya has offered: the resources, the support, the staff, the educational opportunities, the leads they offer are quality leads. They really set you up for success. And I feel like I'm really just scratching the surface on what this industry has to offer. And I'm very excited to take this journey with Avoya.
So you're ready to become a travel professional? Well, Avoya Travel wants to be your host agency. You'll need clients. Avoya Travel has the industry's leading live lead program. You'll need knowledge. Avoya Travel has sales coaching, business coaching, network enrichment to help you get off to a strong start. You're sure to need help. Support has always been a cornerstone resource at Avoya Travel. Avoya Travel, the industry's top host agency. Find out more at avoyanetwork.com. Well, hello and welcome back to this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya. I'm your host, Chris Green, Director of Network Expansion, and we certainly appreciate your time. Always love this Avoya Insider segment where we get a chance to kind of do a deep dive with one of the great teammates I have here at Avoya Travel. And today we're really thrilled to welcome back one of our big supporters, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel, Steve Hershan. Steve, welcome back to On Deck with Avoya. Good to have you on the show again.
It's good to be back, Chris, and we're kind of sandwiched in between the holidays, so an interesting time of the year as we all get ready for the kickoff of the new year and wave season.
Absolutely. And that's kind of one of the topics we're going to dive into here in just a second. But before we do that, Steve, can you kind of fill our guests in a little bit, those who maybe have not caught your previous episodes here of On Deck with Avoya, a little bit about your background in the travel industry and how you came to be at Avoya Travels? But been a couple decades now, right?
Yeah, it's about 38 years in the travel business, which I got into completely by accident, answering a blind ad in the New York Times. That's where you used to go to get jobs in the past before the internet was the leading job promoter. And went to an interview. It turned out to be a small cruise line that was in New York, of all places. There were still a few left in New York. And I started working there. And then I got into the retail side after a number of years and went to work for Liberty Travel and Go-Go, which is a big retail chain and wholesaler. I'm sure everybody on the call is familiar with them. And then after that, I decided, time to get out of the cruise industry and what I was doing for the first 20 years of my career. And I knew what Avoya Travel was doing on the home-based agency side, and I decided to call Brad Anderson, who was one of the co-founders, and say, Brad, I think I'd really like to give this home-based business a try and get out of the rat race. So I had my own agency for 2 years. And then kind of like in the Godfather, I got dragged back into the family and they asked me to join on the employee side. And that's now another 17 years. So, I can't think of doing anything else but travel in my life,
For sure. So this gives you a great perspective for our first question, because hard to believe here we are kicking off 2025 already. From your standpoint, Steve, just how important is it for a great travel advisor to get off to a solid start to wave season and their new year?
Yeah, here's why it's super important, because most people will tell you, whether supplier or agent, that maybe 40% of their business for the year is done in the first 3 months, the first 25% of the year. So if you're not hitting that kind of disproportionate sales volume by the end of March, you have a lot of catching up to do the rest of the year. And as ships sell out and hotels fill up, it gets harder and harder to generate that excess business during the last 9 months of the year. So I think everybody likes to get out to a big start and then have a little bit less pressure the rest of the year to have a good year.
Absolutely. And what about from a Avoya Travel standpoint, considering that as a company ourselves, we don't sell the travel, only those in the Avoya network do. What kind of resources does Avoya Travel provide those in the Avoya network just to make that great start possible for them at wave season?
Yeah, I think it starts from the beginning with all the education that we that we offer. I mean, people can be born with sales personalities, but they have to learn a little bit about the travel industry first before they can, be successful, have that bedrock of a background. Of course, the hardest thing for most agents on the call will probably be, they say, to find clients. And we help them, either with Avoya Live leads or help them build their business to find their own clients successfully as well. So education, providing them with leads. And I think also, most importantly, is getting the best deals in the industry from the suppliers. Because I always sarcastically say, since I'm from New York, that I'm a great closer when I have a better deal than everybody else.
Yeah.
So coming to a host agency that does such volume with all the suppliers that they get preferential commissions, but more importantly, preferential deals, gives me a leg up on everybody else to help close that business.
Absolutely. Steve, let's kind of take a look at this next question from the perspective a new to the industry agent and then from a more experienced agent. But what about some simple and practical advice for somebody that this is their first wave season, they're just getting their business going, and they're hoping to find that first level of success to build upon in the future?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing I would say, and is number one, obviously, if you're at Avoya, uh, finding a host agency to be associated with is probably step one. Being new to the industry and going through your first wave season on your own without all the resources that Avoya or another host agency might offer, I think is ill-founded is the word I think I'm looking for. So I would say the first place is, start with some support. Being on your own and new to the business can be dangerous, I think. Next thing I would say is kind of decide what you want to focus on from a product point of view. People in the business for 30 years are not expert about everything, so you're certainly not going to be able to do that from day one. So find a few products that you can focus on and try to stick to that, where you can kind of know it inside and out, whether it's the product, the destinations. And the most important thing these days is to be expert on the promotions, because they get more and more confusing with the terms and conditions and what's allowed, what's not allowed.
What about from that perspective, from a more experienced agent, Steve? Maybe they've been through the cycle a couple times already, but they're really looking now for that kind of piece of advice that help them take that next step forward.
Well, I think they have to remember that they have a gold mine in their database of past clients, and one thing that we've learned over the years at Avoya from all the data analysis that we do is people may not travel always at the same time of year, but a lot of times they tend to book at the same time of year. And that's a big reason why wave season is so disproportionate in sales. Because when you get to January, you got people in Chicago in a blizzard who want to book a Caribbean cruise to get out of there. And you have people who are teachers who know they're going to be off in July and August, and they have to get their vacation time request in by the end of January. And you have factories that they know they're going to shut down at a certain time. So you got last minute business and you got people who are planning ahead all at the same time. So, mining your past passengers. And I always say, if you want your clients to repeat with you, you have to repeat with them, meaning you have to stay in touch with them, be in front of their faces. Look at when they booked last year, look at what they booked, reach out to them with some suggestions, or maybe even a simple holiday e-card or something to stay in front of them. But it's so much harder to find a new client than it is to keep an existing one. So take it, those that are in the business a long time and have a good reputation and they build up a past client list, don't forget them as the volume of new businesses coming in wave season.
For sure. One of the things that's become apparent to me talking to those that are really successful in the Avoya network and just agents in general, just how much that booking window has extended. Talking to agents that are saying, hey, listen, I'm quoting 2027 for clients right now. Does that catch you by surprise at all, Steve?
Yeah, so I think the kind of ebbs and flows. I mean, obviously, the time frame has expanded over the years, and really, what helps that is consistency in pricing from the suppliers. If consumers get trained that vendors are going to slowly lower and lower and lower their price, getting closer and closer to departure, people will wait to book. If people start to see that suppliers, and I'll just throw Oceania and Region out there as an example, that say as of this date, prices are going up and they stick to it, that tells people they have to book further in advance. And also the fact that more and more, when people wait too long, they are being told, sorry, that sailing is sold out or that tour is sold out. So that combination of locking in pricing and raising as it gets closer to sailing and actually filling ships that people call and get told, nope, that ship is sold out. That's forcing people to book further and further out.
So let's take a second and kind of look back, if you don't mind, Steve, at the year we just had. How would you evaluate, as the Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel, 2024 in the leisure travel industry?
Yeah, so for us, it was our best year ever. So that's a good way to start the discussion. I think we're completely over the effects of COVID. We're completely past the revenge travel, as they called it. We're seeing the average booking value of a trip rising faster than the number of bookings, which means each booking is worth more. Each commission check is that much higher. So they're not filling up their ships by dumping the price where we make less. They're actually filling up the ships by doing the right things in terms of itineraries, they're getting the products launched. You can't book 2027 if the suppliers haven't announced their programs that far in advance. So it's kind of the chicken or the egg there a little bit.
What about looking forward? What are some of the things that, as an industry, we should be excited about for 2025? And also, what are some of the potential pitfalls that we should be aware of as we go into 2025?
Well, one of the things that I think I'm most excited about is having seen some CLIA statistics, and they do an awful lot of investigation. It kind of blew my mind that younger travelers are actually more likely to use a travel agent than people my age and older. I would have thought it would be completely the reverse. So, all that shouting about the end of travel agents coming, it's not. Not for a long time. We've heard for years that direct business was going to wind up being 50 or 75% of the business. It's nowhere near that, and probably will never get there. So there's still plenty left for the agency community to book. As opposed to, what should we be concerned about? I'll put it this way, and I always say, every company I've ever been with, I see a 5-year plan where sales are going straight up all the time. And yet that's not the historical case. Something always comes along, whether it was the terror of 9/11, whether it was Legionnaire's disease, whether it was COVID. Something is going to happen at some point in the near future, because that's going to upset the industry. And I think you have to be prepared for it, both, financially, in terms of holding out during those tough times, and from a business point of view, to figure, okay, ships can move. So if something bad happens here, they can move the ship. So I certainly want to be in cruising, as opposed to saying, I'm only going to sell hotels in Hawaii, and then there's an eruption of a volcano and they're closed for 6 months.
Right. So makes total sense.
Definitely keep a nest egg, and definitely spread your business around to offset the potential risk from being too limited.
Steve Hirschan, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel, is our featured Avoya Insider guest this month for On Deck with Avoya. Steve, anything fun travel-wise that's coming up on your agenda for the new year?
Yeah, actually, a really fun trip that I'm looking forward to. Taking some of Avoya's top agencies on Oceania on a 7-day Caribbean cruise in March. And I've been on Oceania a couple times, but only for a few days here or there, not to actually do an entire cruise. And since clearly I'm a foodie, if you can't tell because the picture is cut off here, but love to eat and love to go to different destinations. So for me, cruising has always been on the top of my happiness vacation selection.
Steve, before we wrap up today, any last thoughts from your side that agents maybe should be thinking of to make 2025 their best year in business yet?
I just think, I always say this business is not easy. you've got to put the time into it. During wave season, you have to think of yourselves like my accountant does during tax season. I'll take a day off in April 16th, or that's when he plans his trip to Hawaii. You got to put the time in. It's not easy. People don't just call up and say, "Here's my credit card. I'm ready to book." No, there's a lot of work that's involved back and forth, and you got to put that effort in when the bookings are there, which is coming soon to a theater near you. Excuse me, to a theater near you. So get yourself prepared. Take your time off now while the holidays are here and enjoy, and get ready to roll up your sleeves and work.
Steve, I always love to wrap up these kind of questions, Q&A sessions with something really positive, but it seems really obvious just based on our whole conversation that you're still excited to be in the travel industry. And I have to ask, after 35, 36 years, I think you said, what about being in the industry still keeps you so excited?
Well, I think it's the fact that there's constant change. And I think when I started in travel, I think the change came like in 2-year waves. And then after a few years, it seemed like it changed in a 1-year wave. And now it's changing like almost daily. And I'm sure everybody on the call will say to themselves, yeah, he's right. I never have the same day 2 days in a row, or maybe even ever. Everyone is going to be different, unique, different challenges, different opportunities. So it's not the kind of business you can get into a rut, because the clients won't let you, because they're going to be demanding different things, and the industry will constantly be evolving and changing. I mean, when I started, Chris, the first cruise ship I was on was 10,000 tons and 700 passengers.
Wow.
And now we're up to 240,000 tons and 6,000 or 7,000 passengers. So to have seen all that growth over the last 3+ decades just bodes well for the future of what kind of changes you're going to see. Maybe they'll have Uber, we'll have cruise ships maybe one day, right? We'll just tell the ship to come pick us up.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
Steve Hershan, everyone, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel. Steve, always great to catch up with you. Always great to pick your brain and have you as our first guest of the year on Deck with Avoya.
Same here. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Absolutely. Coming up, more on Deck with Avoya as we discuss our February show. And of course, remind you of Avoya promotions for the Avoya Travel Academy. And coming up next, right here, we'll talk about that when On Deck with Avoya returns in just a moment. Well, here we are at the end of our program. Hard to believe it's time to wrap up already, but before we say goodbye for the month of January, we wanted to touch base on a few important items, including our ongoing military promotion for those that are active duty or retired, and that includes their spouses as well. And in the last couple of months, we've opened up this promotion to first responders and their spouses as well. So a couple of ways you can qualify to get $100 off either the curriculum in the Avoya Travel Academy or to affiliate with the #1 host agency in leisure travel, and that's Avoya Travel. And speaking of the Avoya Travel Academy, what an amazing way to get off on the right foot in the travel business. With industry-leading content, access to entry-level professional development from top vendors like our title sponsors, Norwegian Cruise Line and Colette Tours, also industry content from our friends at the Special Needs at Sea Group. You've always wanted to be in the travel business, and this is your chance. Details at avoyatravelacademy.com. I also wanted to remind you to give us a follow, a like, ring that bell, and get your notifications when anything new is loaded up on the Avoya Travel Network social media channels. You can find us on all the major platforms at Avoya Travel Network. Until next month, thank you so much for your time. We hope to hear from you, and take care, everyone.